So, it was a step too far for Chelsea. Never mind the how. Did Tottenham deserve to win for your money, Danny?
I think the first half performance warranted the lead. I thought they started really brightly again. But I thought Chelsea in the second half played well. I thought they worked out the tactical side of it, imposed themselves on the game, played on the front foot a bit more. And Tottenham were struggling a bit in the second half. But the glaring thing for Chelsea was the lack of numbers in the box. Loads of possession, good possession in the final third, but no numbers in the box. Giroud came on with 12 minutes to go, was it? I was absolutely amazed by that. Absolutely amazed, because they were getting in down the wide areas. They were getting 2v1s. We were watching it, talking about the fact they were switching the ball better. But they were looking up to put crosses in, and there's nobody in there. So if you base it on that, then yes, Tottenham, I think, just about edged it.
Do you feel that was the difference, the fact that when Chelsea were on top, they just didn't have the outlet ball, or indeed toothless up top?
Yeah, I think you saw the strengths of Tottenham's diamond in the first half and the weaknesses in the second. I think Sarri definitely spoke to his players at half-time about switching and re-switching the ball, because when you play a diamond, your numbers are in the middle of the pitch. First half, we saw Willian coming inside, Hazard trying to operate in the middle of the pitch where all of Tottenham's numbers were. Second half, there's a lot more width to Chelsea's play. They were getting in around the back, getting crosses in. You're only seeing Kante had the best chance. He's 5'5" in the box. If you're going to get crosses in, you want someone to get on the end of them. It took up till the 80th minute to get Giroud on the pitch, when they had so much possession in good areas where they could hurt them, and didn't exploit the spaces which were in wide areas tonight. I
mean, it is a unique competition, but is it different when you play in a two-legged semi-final? Does the approach change, even when you go a goal down?
I think... I mean, there's a lot of difference when you're playing at home in the first game. You don't when you play at home in the first game, there's always that expectancy to go forward and try and please the fans, but get a lead. I mean, you're talking about high-quality international footballers on the pitch there who have all been in these big games before. I think Tottenham went out with intent, and I think as the game wore on, the second leg became more relevant in their heads. You could see them drop back a little bit, give up possession, which isn't really what Tottenham do generally. They became happy with the one-goal lead. I think that's, in a way, sensible, but also tonight, the way they started, I thought maybe Chelsea were there for the taking. Now you've got a hell of a second leg coming up. I think Chelsea are well in the tie, and I would imagine that when Chelsea get them back to the bridge for the first 20 minutes of that game, you'll see Chelsea really go for them.
How big an advantage, or otherwise, is that 1-0 scoreline, Liam?
It's an advantage. I think time will tell. I think it'll be interesting if Pochettino sticks with the diamond away from home, because they gave up so much possession. I'm used to seeing Tottenham dominate possession and win games, dominating press high up the pitch. Today they were in a deeper block. They couldn't keep possession second half because of the diamond. It's so difficult when you operate in those spaces to keep possession, you have to make the pitch big to keep possession. They were so compact through the game. It was actually Chelsea who dominated a lot of the ball, but like we said, they didn't have that cutting edge that you need in the final third.
Do you think that I mean, I think it's a mixture of the tactical, Chelsea worked it out, but also the physical output that Tottenham put into the first half when they didn't have the ball. Unbelievable. Yeah. You know, Son epitomises that, doesn't he, with his pressing and his running. And I thought they ran out of legs a little bit, as well as the tactical.
That's so difficult. When you play a diamond, that's the strength of diamond first half. They were so compact. They went and pressed the ball high up the pitch. They won it. They were by far the better side. But when Chelsea were more patient with the ball, went from side to side, the two wide players in Tottenham's diamond had to cover so much distance. In the end, you see them running back to goal, back to goal, back to goal. It was the deepest I've seen Tottenham play in a long time, and credit to Chelsea for that. But players like Hazard, Pedro comes on, Hudson-Odoi, you want more from them in the final third to go and really take the game. And yes, I thought there was an element of a settling for both teams over 1-0 towards the end of the game. I thought there was an element of, Chelsea don't want to concede a second. Tottenham already have the advantage. I think the last 10-15 minutes, they almost cancelled each other out. And you saw the embrace between Sarri and Pochettino after the game. They both seemed quite happy with the end result.
Do you think there's any part of Tottenham will feel they should have done more first leg and so-called home advantage, which is slightly skewed by it being Wembley?
No, I think you have to put things in perspective. You're playing against Chelsea, top side.
Who they absolutely blew away.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen too often. I think that was Chelsea's first defeat, if memory serves me right. I think that Tottenham, if you'd have said to the Tottenham players and any of the coaching staff before, or supporter even, before the game, you're going to end up winning the game. by whatever score, they'd have taken it.
Definitely.
Because what happens is, of course, you know, if they go into that next game and do go on the front foot, which they might well do, and try and go after Chelsea and think, you know what, we've got a lead, rather than sit back and score again, the mountain is big for Chelsea. But I don't think... I think as the game wore on, Chelsea would be more disappointed now that they didn't probably go for it a little bit earlier. Because Tottenham, for me, were tired. There was a lot of tired legs. And Giroud, I don't understand for the life of me. Not that Giroud's everybody's cup of tea. I like him. But he's a threat on crosses. And you could see the game developing. We were talking about, you know, we talked about it in depth, that they had to get around the back and get crosses in. They got the 2v1s, but they were looking up and there was nothing. Tottenham were fine defending that way.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing Tottenham did get was the decision, VAR-wise. What did you make about, not the actual decision, I think we all agreed it was the correct decision, or two decisions indeed, but the way in which it was used and it was subsequently awarded?
Well, I'm always pleased when the right outcome is achieved. And furthermore, that, you know, that it's consistent. And what I mean by consistent is that it's used for the correct things and not for everything. And I know Pochettino said some things about it after the game, but I think that the World Cup was a brilliant example. Although there was the odd one or two, which is going to happen, I thought it was a great example of how and when it should be used.
Agree with that?
I do. I think there's so much at stake now in terms of getting to a cup final, winning a trophy, staying up, the amount of money that's involved in promotion and relegation. Now, for me, you always want to come to the right decision. Now, in that instance, I think it could have been done even quicker. As soon as you saw it, you knew it was onside, you knew it was a penalty. Make the decision, let the game flow, because that's why we love the game. The flow of the sport that we love is fantastic. We don't want to take away from that. But at the same time, you want to get to the right decision. In this case, they've got to the right decision. But I think the question for VAR in the future is, can we make those decisions even quicker in terms of keeping that flow of the game that we love, but we don't want to take away from that.
I'm a traditionalist, so even though I embrace modern technology, I'm actually still really pleased that a semi-final is played over two legs. When given that there's a call for reduced games, and we've seen in the FA Cup that has been changed in terms of replays, etc. But I mean, it is an oddity, isn't it? But it's something a little bit different.
It is different. We see it in Europe, obviously, a bit more, and some of the teams who've played in Europe for years are more used to it. But I used to really enjoy it, the home and away thing. It's more strategic. There are parts in the games where you have to make a decision collectively on whether what you've got's enough or do you go for the kill. I think there's a lot of good things. I mean, also you say traditionalist. I mean, I remember growing up the two-legged semi-finals in the League Cup. I've played in them, and it gives you. I quite like the fact that it gives a second chance, because the best team goes through normally over two legs, doesn't it? In a one-off game, one decision can kill you, or one silly moment and you're done. In the semi-final,
but that can work to the advantage of potential giant killer.
Yeah, but you don't generally get the giant killer in the semi-final. You know, the smaller teams in the semi-final.
With Burton tomorrow.
Well, they've got no chance over two legs.
Yes, they have. Much. Don't be like that.
Oh, come on, are you trying to kid?
Of course they've got a chance.
No chance.
You still enjoy over two legs?
Yeah, I do. I love it. I love the format. I think it brings more drama. I think it brings more excitement over two legs. And you see, it's amazing football. You see momentum change. You know, if Tottenham get a goal even at Chelsea, they still believe they can go and get 2-3 goals because they're the home team that can go and score, and the fans will stay with them. In a one-off game, you don't get those kind of things happening that you do over two legs. So I love the two-legged format. I think it's a really good format, and hopefully it continues.
What will be interesting is whether or not Callum Hudson-Odoi will still be there for the second leg. He's got 18 months left, but he has currently declined to extend that contract. As we know, there's a £35 million bid in for Bayern Munich. What did you make of his performance tonight, and why do you think Maurizio Sarri put him in?
Well, I think he probably was impressed with his performance at the weekend in the Cup. He settled both goals. He's obviously doing well in training. To be at that age and even around the first-team squad at Chelsea with so many super players is credit to him. I liked his confidence. You know, I remember one bit where he did a bit of skill, come on his weaker foot inside and tried to smash one in the top corner. But he plays with that belief. I love that in young players. Athletically very, very good, technically gifted. I hope that his refusal to sign a new contract is based on a want to play more football. I really hope that. I don't know the lad.
But how do you get a guarantee of that from anybody?
Well, you don't ever get a guarantee, but I think when you meet managers, when you move at any age and you have a conversation about, am I going to play, what do you see me as, etc., you start to feel more wanted at one place than another. It becomes quite evident. But nobody will guarantee him. But you'd think if a club was prepared to pay, what you say, 35, 40 million for you, that there's a good chance they're going to use you.
Yeah, but I think they've gone and signed Pulisic, similar age, from Dortmund. And
similar position?
Same position, similar age. And so you're Callum Hudson-Odoi and you're saying, well, what do I need to do to get that chance?
Yeah.
And it's not like a small club that have come in from. It's one of the biggest clubs in Europe, one of the biggest clubs in the world. They must have faith in him, and he's been around for a good few years now. We've been aware of him from academy football. You see likes of Reece Nelson do so well this year, Ademola Lookman last year, Jadon Sancho's now got in the England squad.
Yeah.
I can see it from his point of view. I want to go and play football, and I've been an advocate for a long time of our young English players going to learn on different shores, because it enhances our game in terms of learning a different culture, a different way of playing. Good luck to him. If he wants to go and play football, and that's the decision it's based on, not finances, not status, I want to go and improve as a player and be the best I can be, then good luck to him. And we'll see, it'll be interesting to see what Chelsea do with it.
So if you were advising him, if he was sat right here, right now, what would you tell him to do? Stay or go?
I wouldn't say if it was me and a team like Bayern Munich, yeah, exactly. If a team like Bayern Munich come in and they're a huge club and they're willing to pay £35 million for me with 18 months left on my contract, that tells me all I need to know. Yeah. I'm going to play. I'm going to get a chance to play in that first team.
More than he is at Chelsea.
More than I am at Chelsea. So for me, if it's based on, am I going to improve as a player? Am I going to get the minutes I need? Because to be the best player you can be, you need to be playing. Simple as that. You can't be sitting on the bench waiting for your opportunity. And it's not like he's going to he's going to one of the biggest clubs in Europe, by the way.
But can you play too much, though, too early and too young? And should you be gently eased in, used and trusting your manager?
I think we're forgetting how young he is. I mean, I think you make some good. I agree with you, by the way.
If you look at Jadon Sancho, for example, would he now be in the England squad? Would we now be speaking about him in the way that we do if he wasn't exposed? He wouldn't have got that exposure at Manchester City. You see Diaz going to Real Madrid now. We're looking at, I think Phil Foden's going to be an incredible footballer. Is he getting the football he really needs to develop into top player? He's training with the best players in the world day in, day out. But at the end of the day, your development and your game experience, your understanding comes from playing football. So for me, the more football you're exposed to and the more you play, yes, you need rest, yes, you need recovery, but when you're 18, 19 years old, you want to be playing in front of 60, 70,000 people every week. And if Hudson-Odoi's got that opportunity, again, a huge football club, why shouldn't he want to take that?
I think that's fair. I think all I'd say is that, and this is very hard to judge because we don't know, every individual is very different in terms of their ability to change lifestyle change.
What about the culture change?
Culture change, attitude change. You know, I say attitude. I mean, and a willingness to adapt, a willingness to learn a language. I mean, I think at that age, if you think back to when we were that age, you do have this kind of confidence that you know it all a little bit. But I hope if he does make the move, that he takes a good support network with him. Because if you get isolated anywhere, you know, even if you move within England sometimes, I've seen it with players. When I first came down south. You know, it took me a little while to adapt. You know, you're away from all the normal things, family, friends, and you're trying to adapt from a football club and from a lifestyle, if you like. That's what you don't want is him to struggle and become disillusioned with it, and then waste a year.
Yeah,
or 18 months.
The thing is, we've seen players from other shores come to England and have to do that. And what you find is, I spoke to a lot of players that have come to England from abroad, and they say the first 6 months, first year was so difficult. But I'm so happy I did it. I came out of my comfort zone. I realised I need to learn a new language. They grow as a person as well as a footballer. Look at Ronaldo came to Manchester United at 18 years old, you know, and his growth as a player and as a man comes from being out of your comfort zone. I don't think over the last couple of generations we've had enough English players go and sample that. You see likes of Owen Hargreaves, players like that who've played abroad. I think it's great for our game that they do go and learn a different way of playing, different style of football, different culture, different language. I think it enhances our game.
Right, one word, stay or go?
Sorry, Chelsea fans, go.
Danny?
I want him to stay, but if I was him, in the current scheme of things, game time's everything. Go.